So a very warm welcome back to the Circuit de Barcelona, Catalunya, and welcome to the second race of the 2024 season for the FIM Yamaha R3 bLU cRU World Cup, as it is now known from this year onwards. We had an absolutely incredible start to the season here on Saturday for many more reasons than one, not least though because of the winning margin, the largest ever in what is so far a 3-year and 1-race history for the Yamaha R3 bLU cRU World Cup. Winning was Gonzalo Sanchez, the 15-year-old from Teruel, Aragon, about a 2.5-hour drive from here. A sensational victory, 11 seconds ahead of the rest of the field as absolute chaos took place behind him. Greg Haynes with you, and the air temperature here is a cooler today, 15 degrees Celsius. The track now creeping up to 28 degrees Celsius, and judging by the World Superbike race we had here in the last half hour or so, this could be absolutely sensational. Humidity now 73%. New regulations for this year in line with the World Supersport and World Supersport 300 Championships, in that the top 9 fastest laps from race 1 decide the top 9 grid positions for race 2. So setting the fastest lap in race 1 was not the rider who's on pole position, because we've had a penalty given out, would you believe? So we'll explain that one in a moment. Mark Vick, the rider from Mallorca, starts on pole position. 46th there is David Novak, who had a technical problem earlier on in the weekend, but that's sorted. Completing the front row of the grid, the number 58, and this is Nicholas Zanin, a 15-year-old from the Czech Republic on the Dafit motor racing bike. Fastest lap from yesterday would usually have put you on pole position for today. Gonzalo Sanchez, who was the winner and also the championship leader. However, as you can see for yourself, he's been dropped down with a penalty there, 3 grid spots to the top of row 2. So from 1st to 4th for Sanchez, and that was for leaving the pit lane after the red light had already been switched on before the start of the race and the sighting lap yesterday. So it shouldn't be the end of the world, but the others are very, very conscious of the fact that he disappeared off into the distance yesterday as they all fought for second place. There's the rest of the grid, down to Adrian Moya, number 15, completing the field. That's the 15-year-old, one of the 4 one-event / wildcard riders here this weekend. They are Natalia Rivera, who was up there on the podium in the super finale in Portimao last season, Miguel Rodriguez, Alberto Beltran, and Adrian Moya himself. Very, very scary incident here though on the start-finish yesterday as the warm-up lap now gets underway here at Catalunya. Thankfully everybody was okay, but it was as frightening as it gets when we had movement on the start-finish straight. It all started when Mario Sales Neta, the Brazilian rider, missed a gear on the start-finish straight. So easily done when you are nose to tail in a pack of 10, 11, 12 riders. However, because he missed a gear, he obviously lost drive, lost speed. Takumi Takahashi behind him had to swerve, made contact with Cameron Swain, the Australian, who went down, and then contact further back as well as the Thai rider Thong Manoon got caught up in the drama and was also down on the start-finish straight. It was an absolute minor miracle. Thank goodness everybody else bearing down on them missed the 2 stricken riders and motorcycles that were prone across the track here at Barcelona. So it's not a particularly tricky start here because of the length of the start-finish straight. There are 690 metres between pole position and the braking zone for turn 1, but it can often mean, particularly on the quicker motorcycles, MotoGP, World Superbike and so on, that we have incidents at the first corner. It's quite rare actually to see a first corner incident for the R3 Cup. Round the right-hander, up at Kamsa, out the top of the circuit, turn 9. This is the back straight now, down to the left-hander at turn 10. But it is season 4. It all started in 2021, which was a year later than planned because of the pandemic, and Iker Garcia, the Spaniard, became the first ever R3 bLU cRU Cup champion. Enzo Valentin, with the best season so far in terms of points across the 12 races, was champion in 2022. And then Emilio Urcolani did the spoils last year, 2023. And the prize for that is that it guarantees you a spot, a fully supported ride in the World Supersport 300 Championship, which incidentally will be racing here immediately after this race. All of the riders aged between 14 to 20. And now getting ready on the grid. Liveries identical with the exception of each rider's sponsor. You can see the flag on the left-hand side as you look. It would be the right headlight for the road-going machine. That's the flag, the nation of each of the riders. We have 13 different nationalities on the grid here at Barcelona. 6 of the 20 are Spanish, a few of those wild cards, as I mentioned before. And a quick happy birthday as well to Alessandro Di Persio, who will be turning 17 on Thursday next week. We'll get that happy birthday in now because it's all about to kick off in the next few minutes. Okay, here we go then. They did have a test here on Saturday and Sunday last weekend, and it was Sanchez, the only rider underneath the 2-minute barrier for lap times. Okay, the starting lights will be switched on for at least 2 seconds, but no more than 5. And let's see what Sanchez can do this time. But Mark Vick, I spoke with him earlier on, extremely confident from pole position, and he thinks he can win this race. Away we go. It's the second race of the weekend and the second race of the season for the FIM Yamaha bLU cRU R3 World Cup of 2024. Mark Vick trying to break the toe, the slipstream, on the run down to the first corner. And they're going to hit the brakes now. And who's got the whole shot? Look at Novak. He's made a good start. 23 Sanchez. Sanchez, yesterday's winner and the championship leader. That's the last thing they all wanted to see. Bearing in mind the absolutely enormous margin he had of victory. 11 seconds yesterday. The largest ever winning margin in the history of this championship. So the 15-year-old from Aragon leads the way as they all squabble and fight. Cameron Swain has made a really good start there. The Australian up to second place. Not for long because he's been dispatched by what looks like Novak going through on the inside with the all-white helmet running wide. It's Mark Vick. It was Mark Vick who was going through. Up the inside now, down into turn 5, and Vick, who started on pole, he's back up into his second position. But look at Gonzalo Sanchez just disappearing off up the road already. He won't believe it, will he? What a stunning start to the season it's been for him so far. Into the left-hander of turn 7. Now they flick it right up the hill. This is 8. And then 9, 42 on the left-hand side is Mario Sales, who missed that gear on the start-finish straight yesterday. Through Campsa corner. They'll now diagonal the back straight from left to right for the braking zone of the hairpin at La Caixa down at turn 10. Your leader is Sanchez. Then it's the all-white crash helmet of Mark Vick in second place. And there's almost contact there as the 19 of Dorian Jolan, the 17-year-old on the FT Racing Team machine. The rider from France dives up the inside. That was a lovely, lovely move there from the 17-year-old. There's Mark Vick. He was in the gravel here yesterday at turn 12. It was motocross style. It was a phenomenal recovery. And he was telling me last night they'd actually did the same thing twice earlier in the weekend, so we knew what he was doing. And some of the riders have clearly been watching what's just happened with Toprak Razgatlioglu and Alvaro Bautista in the World Superbike race. They weave their way down the start-finish straight. Careful not to touch any of the green paint. Penalties were given out yesterday for that. 19 is Jolan. There's the leader. Can Mark Vick do anything about him? Yes, he can. He's just reduced the gap fractionally there from 1.1 to 1.0. Novak is number 46. It's right and it's left. Turns 1 and 2 here at Barcelona. But all this squabbling going on is helping the two at the front to disappear off up the road. Cameron Swain has now dropped down into 6th position, having been momentarily second on the opening lap. Let's see what Vick can do. I'll keep watching the sector times to see whether he can close in on Sanchez at the front of the race. Vick must have been so frustrated at first to get stuck in the pack, but now he's got the hammer down as he tries to make some inroads, and it means that the big fight is on for this 3rd position. Who's in the group? It's Novak from Poland, Jolan from France, then it's Sales, the Brazilian rider, with his fellow countryman Eduardo Burr right up behind him, number 88. Cameron Swain is number 26, that's the rider from Australia. Takumi Takahashi relieved of that penalty yesterday because of the gear change issue he had. Just dropping down into 9th position now because Di Persio has gone through. Alessandro Di Persio, the 16-year-old from Chieti in Italy, and he qualified well this weekend on the front row of the grid for yesterday's race. But it's a new situation having different grids for the races now by virtue of those fastest laps from race 1, and it works well of course because it gives us quite a shuffle. How are they all going to get through the left-hander cleanly? It goes right now into turns 11 and 12. This is the Bank Sabadell corner. Vick out the front, still 1 second behind, but look at the top left of the screen. It's up to 1.6, and frustration now kicking in for Dorian Jolan because he can see that Vick is disappearing off up the road ahead of him. And ahead of him, of course, is Sanchez, whose lead is a full second. Easy for these riders, relatively speaking, to get involved in the class with a very, very effective cost-capping system, a €30,500 full entry with all of the kits provided. And the super finale winner as well at the end of the season, when all of the bLU cRU members from the various cups and challenges around the world and Europe in particular fight with one another. And we saw that super finale last season in Portimao, which was won by Sanchez. And look at that, 3 abreast as they tip it right into the never-ending turn 3. David Novak exceeded track limits yesterday, was denied of his career first podium in the bLU cRU R3 World Cup. Ended up 4th. Really looking to make amends for that here this afternoon. There's that fastest lap for Sanchez, a 59.8, doing what he did in the test last weekend when he was the only rider underneath the 2-minute mark. His lead now 1.9 seconds. It's a clear second for Mark Vick. It's certainly not a clear third, though, for Di Persio, who's now fought his way up into that podium position. Eduardo Burr having a real go, though, on the climb to turn 9. And he's learning all the time. Where am I stronger? Where is Di Persio weaker? Where can I get a run and surprise him around what is a 4.6 kilometre, 2.8 clockwise layout here at Catalunya? Look at Sales. An enormous look at the inside of turn 10, but all to no avail. That's the 16-year-old. He's racing with the Yamaha AD78 FIM Latino America setup, and it's all part of the SBK roadway. Various bLU cRU Cups and Challenges here in Spain, France, the Benelux region, Italy, Thailand, and South America. That's a huge, huge move by Di Persio into the last corner. Some splendid stuff going on here, and all credit to everybody for giving each other the space. Everybody still running, down to Indy Schunselaar, the Dutch rider, in 19th place, but we reckon he suffered food poisoning earlier on in the weekend, was feeling really, really unwell last night, and Indy's done a great job. A really brave outing for him. He's running still in the race, and he'll be hoping to somehow scrape into the points and damage the limitation. There was almost contact, limit the damage rather. There was almost contact there down into turn 1. One of the riders running wide. Now, if they go into that runoff area, they are obliged by the rules to rejoin through the long lap penalty lane. Natalia Rivera is in 14th position. Had a poor start yesterday and a bit of an incident. Lost 8 positions on the first lap, and we're certainly looking to make up for that here today. But she's mired in the middle of this group at the moment. And of course, with everybody on identical machinery, it is so difficult to get past. But Di Persio is proving me wrong as he dives up the inside. And look what's happening. They have caught Mark Vick, number 96, towards us. This was not in the game plan for Il Bello, as he's known. That's what he likes to call himself. He's lost ground to the leader, Sanchez, who's now 3 seconds up the road. And Mark Vick, who had a very handy 1 second advantage over these guys and girls just a few moments ago, is now going to look behind him if he does. And there's no advantage whatsoever because they're attacking him, and this is for second place. It's for 20 crucial championship points as well. Sales has a look on the number 42 machine. Brazilian flag on the back of his leathers. Brazilian flag on his crash helmet. Very easy to spot Mario Sales. Mark Vick, though, a sensible ride so far. A brilliant recovery back through the field yesterday to finish on what proved to be a podium after David Novak's penalty. Vick running the number 96. He was born on the 9th day of the month in 2006. And as I said yesterday, he's always used a clear white or yellow helmet, so it's easy to recognise him. Looks up to Yamaha riders Fabio Quartararo and Andrea Locatelli, says they're both very motivational and inspirational, but Mario Sales, the Brazilian, was briefly in front, but not for long, because David Novak from Poland, number 46, now takes that second place. Down to 5th position then goes Mark Vick, having been second just a few moments ago. He went on to the start-finish straight in second place, and at the end of the kilometre-long start-finish, he is only 5th. Sanchez leading, on target for a double. Not sure it's going to be the 11-second advantage he had yesterday, but it's still very comfortable. There he was, just flashing through the shot, 3.1 ahead is the 15-year-old from Aragon in northeastern Spain. And here at Barcelona, Sales now running in that second position. Can he secure his first ever R3 World Cup podium here this afternoon? The group fighting for second place, consisting of 13 riders, all the way down to the number 56 of Shoma Yamane, the 16-year-old from Japan. Show you though, nursing an injury coming into this race with his arm after a crash in practice. He has been spending some time at the Clinica Mobile, had a massage with some ice packs applied as well. He's riding, but he's clearly injured. So a shout out there to Yamane, and he's actually just moved up into 13th place, which under the circumstances is a really strong performance. Half race distance when they complete this 5th of the 10 laps here. Mark Vick cuts up the inside into Bank Sabadell at turn 12. There's David Novak, certainly one of the friendliest characters in the paddock, considering he is from Poland. He speaks the most spectacular English, and he's only 15 years old. A technical problem for him left him lower down on the grid than he would have liked earlier on in the weekend for race 1. He moves across slightly, trying to break the toe. Look at Mark Vick, he's on the white line and almost on the grass. And Jolan, the French rider with a pink crash helmet there, going down the left-hand side of the track, the right-hand side as we look, and nearly emerged in second place. That is incredible. What's that? 10, 11 abreast almost down into turn 1. And the racing room they are giving one another is absolutely phenomenal. The way they managed to get through there, brilliant. A credit to all of them. It's really helping Sanchez, though, not that he needs the assistance. He's been on another planet here at Catalunya. 5 seconds ahead. Down into the right-hander. This is turn 4. 88 on the outside. He's Eduardo Burr, the Brazilian, from Carapicuíba. Watch the front of the bikes dip now, using all of that travel on the front suspension. Novak, wider sweeping line, showing all the confidence that we've seen from him in the past in this championship. He's number 46 with the Skopek team. They are different teams down in the bLU cRU village. Some of them all part of the different cups and challenges we have with the bLU cRU around the world. Others are smaller family efforts. Cam Swain, for example, with his dad Jason. Cam has now dropped down into 10th position, but made an excellent start. But both Swain and Thongdamoon, the rider from Thailand who were involved in that incident yesterday, have just put in their best laps of the race so far. They are in 9th and 10th positions. They can see all of this going on directly in front of them, and they'll look to take advantage of this in the closing stages. Counting down the laps now, 4 to go. 3 different sprockets available in terms of gearing, so you have to decide whether you want to go for straight line speed when you are on your own on track, or whether you prefer to gear it differently and gain in a slipstream and avoid hitting the rev limiter, which is so often a problem with this one make type of racing. Where's Mark Vick gone now? Down into 7th place as we pass 2/3 distance, which means if the race were to be stopped, full championship points would be given. Okay, lap 7 of 10. Sanchez's lead is up to 7 seconds. Maybe it will be the 11 seconds of yesterday after all. But look at that. What a shot that is. That one's going to be on all of the publicity videos. How many riders can you fit down through turns 1 and 2 side by side? Splendid stuff. Everybody on the Pirelli dry tyres. Wets are available as well in the category, but that is chosen by the engineers. It is not the rider's decision. It's all part of making these riders as mature as possible as members of the bLU cRU, and to put the pressure on them of having to make a tyre decision at this stage would arguably not be correct. That's something they'll face as they move up into the Supersport 300 World Championship, which is also racing just after this race. Out to the left-hander, that's turn 5. They're dropping downhill now, even though this looks relatively flat on the television. Through the kink at 6, 7. Oh, and an incident into turn 7. 3 riders caught up, 4 riders, 5 riders caught up. Multiple collision into turn 7 here. I hope everybody's okay. Takahashi and Swain were certainly involved, and so was the 28 of Pietro Anastasi, the 16-year-old with the Arco University team. I hope everybody's okay. Alberto Beltran has also been caught up in that incident, and so has Borgelt, number 57. Are we going to see a red flag? Are we going to see a stoppage? Let's hope we do not. If we do, the race would be over, because we've passed 2/3 distance, and Sanchez would be declared the winner again. But 5 riders all down there, ball Borgelt, I mentioned, is number 57. That's Mietje Borgelt, the 14-year-old from Germany, one of the 13 different nationalities in the field. So that's really shaken up the pack now, with Sanchez leading. The gap, as you can see at the top of the screen, is 8.8 seconds. Sales second. There he is, number 42. 58 is Nicolas Zanin from the Czech Republic, looking for his first ever podium. There's the crashers' names coming up on the right-hand side of your screen, but we still have 10 riders remaining in this multiple contest for second place. Just to recap, it's Beltran of Spain, Borgelt of Germany, Takahashi from Japan, Anastasi of Italy, and Swain of Australia, all out of the race in that collision over at turn 7. But the great news is the race goes on. We do not have a red flag, and that's a good sign in terms of the fitness and the health of all of the riders. So that is excellent news. Up the inside goes the number 19. That's Dorian Jolin, the 17-year-old from France, diving through. Easy to spot him with the pink crash helmet. There are no yellow flags. They've been cleared already. This is the scene of the incident. Just one bike being retrieved there, but according to the GPS tracker in the commentary box, the yellow flags have gone, and that means the race can continue. Just 2 laps to go then when they next cross the line. And now the red flag is out. The red flag is out here at the Circuit de Barcelona, Catalunya on lap 8 of 10. We are past 2/3 distance. The race will not restart. And Gonzalo Sanchez is a double winner for Teruel, for Aragon, here in the opener for the FIM Yamaha R3 bLU cRU World Cup. What a start to the season for 2024. And he will head to Assen in the Netherlands, the Cathedral of Speed, in the middle of April, after the best possible start to his championship this year. Misano will follow for round 3 in June, and then it's Donington Park in July, Manicourt in September, and Gonzalo's home round on the weekend of the 27th to the 29th of September at Motorland Aragon to bring the curtain down on a 6-round, 12-race championship for 2024. They've all been 12 races ever since it started 3 years ago. So congratulations to David Novak, number 46, the affable, effervescent rider from Poland who's just secured, hopefully this time, his first podium finish. It was taken away yesterday for exceeding track limits. We have now just had the confirmation that Cameron Swain has been summoned to the medical centre. We saw the doctors in the gravel trap, didn't we, just protecting, I believe, Cameron Swain. Initially, we were hearing that the riders were all okay. We'll let you know if we hear about Cameron while we are still on the air, and we wish him all the best. But what a shame for Cam to start the season with 2 incidents, one of them yesterday on the start-finish, and then that multiple crash we've just seen there into turn 7. The riders all being held now because there is a 5-minute cut-off rule here at World SBK in the World Superbike paddock. Everybody needs to get back within 5 minutes of the red flag going out. The rules state that they have to get back on their own motorcycle and they have to ride it around. It can't be pushed back in, and they have to remain on the racetrack itself. No shortcuts, no long lap penalty lanes or anything like that. The podium has now been confirmed. The podium has been confirmed. So Sanchez, clearly the winner. The 15-year-old David Novak will be guided through into Parc Fermé as well, also 15 years of age. Here's Sanchez. And another 15-year-old with Nicolas Zanin of the Czech Republic completing the podium, and that's his first podium as well. And we're now just hearing that Mark Vick has also crashed at turn 7. Mark Vick, who was in that leading group, must have crashed on the following lap round just shortly then before the red flags came out. So Mark Vick has not made the finish of the race either. So a very high rate of attrition there, with only 13 making not the checkered flag but the pits after the red flag. The race stopped there 2 laps from the end. Novak will be pleased to have set the fastest lap as well on lap 4 earlier on in the proceedings. But can you believe it, Mark Vick, podium finisher yesterday, also down in the gravel at the same corner, turn 7. Well done, Sanchez, though. There's Novak. You can see his Valentino Rossi, number 46, decals on the side of the crash helmet. This is Nicolas Zanin. And a big part as well of the bLU cRU membership for all of these gals and guys is media training, and the fact that many of them, of course, are learning the international language, English, and it's a big, big part of it. Ludovic Renier down there, the FIM technical director. All of the riders, of course, needing to be weighed in their kit. That's chest protector, crash helmet, boots and gloves, as well as their leathers, of course. Well done, David. He's made up with that. Look at him. Always smiling. Very rare to see David Novak around the paddock without a smile on his face. You do need to put your helmet back on, though, and the gloves. It's what I was just saying, because he still needs to be weighed. There's a lot of tricks on bicycles, actually, David Novak, and freestyle ice skating as well. Rather him than me. One thing he says he does not like is spiders, which I always find quite amusing when a motorcycle rider, as brave as they are, doesn't like something like spiders. I'd be a carpenter if I wasn't a racer, says David Novak. Well, he certainly soared his way through the field here this afternoon, didn't he? Up into second place. Here's the full results then, and the championship standings coming up as well. Sanchez there, it was 11 seconds yesterday, 8.7 today over the course of 8 laps. He wouldn't have been far off the 11. Interview time then.
Gonzalo, you have started your FIM R3 bLU cRU World Cup season in the perfect way with yet another victory, this time by just 8 seconds. Tell us about your race.
Yeah, thank you for all. Thank you. Yeah, in the race 2 I win other time. We do a perfect weekend. This is for the work day by day, that in silence. We work a lot in the precision, and this is the result. Thanks for my team that do a very good work, and also for my sponsors, for my family, and for Yamaha España to give me this opportunity. Thank you.
Congratulations.
Many thanks to Georgia Wells for the interview, and here he is earlier on in the race. His idol is Marc Marquez, and as I said yesterday, I'm sure he'd be proud of this. He remembers witnessing his first motorcycle racing and taking part at the age of 7, and that was only 8 years ago, because he's 15 now. Number 23, Gonzalo Sanchez, lives just up the road from Motorland Aragon, and he has convincingly done the double here. We'll have to check the record books, but he had the most dominant win ever at 11 seconds, and despite the race only running to 8 laps there because of the red flag, he may well have just gone down in history with the second most dominant race win as well. And if it's not the second, it's certainly going to be on the top 5 at 8.7 seconds of margin there over David Novak, with Zanin completing the top 3. Jalan just missed the podium for France in 4th place. Sales, the Brazilian, ahead of his fellow countryman Eduardo Burr. Yamani of Japan 7th from De Persio. Thong Damoon making up for the crash yesterday, 9th place. Mert Konak of Turkey was 10th. Natalia Rivera's had a more difficult weekend than she anticipated. All really went wrong off the start in both races. Indy Schunselaar will be really pleased. Well done, Indy, the 14-year-old from Beethoven in the Netherlands. Despite food poisoning and feeling really weak and unwell, he's managed to survive the race there and score 4 points for 12th. Our final point scorer in 13th place, Adrian Moya for the AMO Racing Team, the 15-year-old from Spain. Up onto the podium we head then. The setup here with the paddock show, and all of the fans allowed into the paddock. A trio of 15-year-olds. Nicolas Zanin for the Czech Republic. David Novak on your left for Poland, and once again up on the top of the podium there, Gonzalo Sanchez.
By the president of Yamaha Motor Europe, Mr. Olivier Prévost, and then we begin with the 3rd place trophy presented to Nicolas Zanin.
That's a career first podium here in the Yamaha R3 bLU cRU World Cup for Nicolas Zanin. Well done.
David Novak with the 2nd place trophy.
And the same goes for David Novak. He had a podium yesterday, but it exceeded track limits, which is an automatic demotion on the final lap. Well done, David. That's your first ever podium. And for Sanchez, it's not just his 2nd ever podium, but his 2nd ever win as well. A maximum 50 points then this weekend to kickstart 2024 in the most spectacular fashion. bLU cRU Yamaha Racing Spain will be made up with this, as the 15-year-old Gonzalo Sanchez Melendez, to give him his full name, wins yet again. So, again, the national anthem of Spain for Gonzalo Sanchez. His double here.
And now please, ladies and gentlemen, your respect for the national anthem of the manufacturer Yamaha, the national anthem of Japan. Congratulations to the top three. Velasco, pleased to get together.
Certainly no surprise that the Yamaha motorcycle won the race there in the Yamaha R3 bLU cRU World Cup.
The official photograph.
Gonzalo Sanchez throwing down the gauntlet, which is going to be rather heavy, I suspect, for the others to pick up when they get to Assen for round 2 on the weekend of the 19th to the 21st of April. Having said that, this is the R3 bLU cRU World Cup, and anything really can happen, as we've seen in the past. So, Gonzalo Sanchez, 3 15-year-olds up there on the podium. First ever podiums for David Novak of Poland and Nicholas Sanin of the Czech Republic, with Dorian Jolin just missing out there for 4th place ahead of Mario Sales, and only 13 riders making the finish there in what was a race full of incidents. The championship will continue at Assen in the Netherlands for round 2 towards the end of April, and this is how it looks heading there. 17-point advantage for Sanchez over Novak. Eduardo Berjolan and Sales completing the championship top 5. 17 of the riders have scored points across this Catalan round. Well, what a start to the season then for Gonzalo Sanchez. The 15-year-old from Aragon in Spain absolutely dominates in fashion we've very, very rarely seen before. What a start to the season for the Yamaha R3 bLU cRU World Cup.